Hey, what's going on, pilots? Thank you for joining me for another Gundam review video. In this video, we're going to be going over the high-grade Gundam Pixy Reber Custom. This is a 2020 issued high-grade kit. However, it is based off of the 2018 RX-78XX Gundam Pixy, just general, no Fred Reber Custom in front of it. This kit is from the Mobile Suits Gundam Side Story Missing Link, and let's go over some of the lore of the suit in the series and kind of the things that it has to offer. So, it is a variant of the RX-78 series. The Gundam Pixy was a high-performance, close combat, ground force mobile suit created by the Earth Federation forces for use by ace pilots during Operation Odessa. Gundam Pixy was slightly lighter than the other RX-78 mobile suits at the time, and this is due to removing the core block system and thrusters for outer space. And as a consequence, it's faster and more agile. It also possessed enhanced apogee motors, which allowed it to achieve burst thrust exceeding that of the RX-78-2, which is again the Grandpa Gundam. However, it's relatively lightly armed with only two 90mm submachine guns, which are conventional ballistic weapons, and two beam daggers. Also has a 60mm Vulcan guns in the head, as most Gundam have. So let's kind of get into the nitty gritty with the kit itself. For ease of cleanup, the kit was pretty easy, run of the mill. The only real issues had to do with some of the points on the weapons. There were some nub points that were kind of hard to get to, so I kind of had to shimmy my way in there. It was before I had the etched parts that you could put the sanders on, so it was kind of it was very difficult to kind of get those nub marks to go away, but figured it out. It looks good. It looks effective enough until I throw paint on anyway. So I'm pretty happy with that. And with every high grade Gundam, the safety nubs on the V fins. That was a simple get your god hands out or some other high brand of nippers and cut the safety nubs and then just kind of sand it down carefully and with probably around 1500 to 2K grit to slowly whittle that down, or a glass file, but again, be very careful, slowly whittle that down as to not deform your V-fin or break your V-fin or over sand or over file. But that's pretty much the only thing. There was no real issues at all. Um, the other small thing, I guess, is the effects parts. So actually cleaning up these effect parts were kind of difficult, just due to the nub points, just to kind of make them less obvious, but you can't even tell now. So that's the best thing about that. In terms of assembly, the kit went together well. No real loose parts. It's not loose, but it is easy to move, so there's nothing real stiff. Of course, you can always go in, stiffen the joints if it's not quite to your liking, but I kind of like the fact that they're malleable, but as soon as you actually put them in a pose, it stays. So I really like this kit for that reason. But there's a couple other really high points of this kit that I want to get to. So just wait 1 second as I switch setups here, and then we can kind of get into the nitty gritty of articulation, color separation, and some of the decals and gimmicks that come with the kit by default. Okay, pilots. So now let's get into some of the nitty gritty of the kit. Let's start off with the color separation. So right out of the box, as you guys can see, the color separation is really, really good, I think. There's a lot of love, I think, between how some of the parts in this kit were made and the color separation right out of the box. You have your reds, your grays, your dark gray blue, and that's kind of it. And then, the weapons are a darker gray, and you have the white parts here for the chest vents and like the collar area. So that's that. And then the frame's a nice dark gray too. And this chest area is a darker gray than some of the others, and then this is also a darker gray than some of the others are on this kit. So it's kind of nice how they have like a couple different tones of grays and a little bit of blue added to the gray, and then just like a nice neutral gray and some red thrown in there. I like the neutral look of this kit. As you guys know, I love real type style designs and color schemes, so this fits right in to that style. Yeah, I think it's really good for color separation. Um, there are some stickers as well that kind of give different tones of grays. Especially for these knee areas and so on and so forth. There's and then right back here too on the arm. There are like some color separation stickers that are black doggo on there. So you have that kind of difference in color as well. But all in all, let's get to my favorite part of this kit, the articulation. The articulation of this kit is exceptional. I would say it's about an 8 or 9 out of 10 or a high grade. And that's with the 10 being the Moon Gundam, which is a fantastic kit. It's basically a real grade. It's just slightly below real grade par. But this is really, really good. The torso can tilt forwards and backwards, as you can see here. It can move left and right. It can even kind of do sideways tilts. So it's awesome. You can even kind of raise it up a little bit. If you look at the way that it articulates, I had to pull out my instructions because I'm pretty avid about. Yeah, see, I was pulling it from the torso. Pretty avid about kind of making sure everything sits really close together. But I'm pretty sure if you hold down this bottom portion and kind of extend upward. Oh god. And kind of extend upward, that you'll get some more articulation out of the torso. Excuse me while I put his head back on. There we go. Alright. Sorry about that. And the elbows and knees are double jointed, but you get a lot of articulation out of it. You can see here. So let's go down here. Let's do that. So you can kind of see that basically you can get a lot of leg articulation out of this. The feet are also very articulate. You can basically do a running stance with the kit if you wanted to. Which is probably my plan eventually. But man, like the articulation in the foot alone, very, very good. This tilts up and down. I believe it even moves slightly. Yep, moves slightly in that pocket. So it's really, really solid overall. With the legs, it also legs can rotate there and swing out, and the hip parts also move. The only thing is that you can manually separate it in here so that each front skirt moves in tandem with the leg, or keep it together like this. But there is room to actually make your own adjustment. The back skirt does not move, but that's not really the biggest deal. These kind of have limited movement. It would have better movement if you took the beam daggers out, but that also should be fun. You get plenty of range of motion. You can see by the pose I had for it originally. The hands have some pretty good articulation right there, and the arms can rotate 360 degrees, and they can also swing out up to about shoulder height, and then you can kind of get some leeway because it's just a ball and socket joint with that. And then I really like the fact that they kind of put this in reverse. If you kind of look at this polycap, usually it sits the other direction, where the pivoting part is on this part of the torso instead of on the front part. And I really like what they did here because it really allows you to be able to get some forward swinging movements like that if you really wanted to. I mean, of course that looks awkward, but I just like the fact that it gives you that option. I think the torso is really the star here because you can do a whole lot with it. as opposed to other high grades. So yeah, I really like the articulation in all this. I like the fact that it can lean forward and kind of sway side to side, and even kind of pull it out slightly to get some more of that, or kind of can just twist it as well. So I really think torso is one of the most articulate torsos that I've seen of any high grade kit. Yeah, and look at that. That looks sweet. So yeah, very happy with the articulation for a high grade. Even the neck is like actually in there. It's a whole piece. It's not even a poly cap. So that has its own forward and backward motion, and then the head's on its normal ball and socket joint, but it basically forms very well, and it's pretty articulate, and it's also a pretty tight connection at the head, so that's also really good. So yeah, I mean, this kit is pretty solid right out of the box. Don't really need to do any like polycap reinforcement or any joint reinforcement. It's all pretty good. For gimmicks, you have, of course, your two 90mm submachine guns, each resting in a trigger hand. So what happens here is that this top comes off of the machine gun, and then this is all basically one part, and then you have your backhand component. And you have like your magazine that comes out too. So you can put the beam daggers in the bottom of this and actually emit it while having that in there. I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's even possible in the actual game to do. Don't ask me. I didn't design the kit. And then you have your normal hands that you can also put just a normal weapon into. And then you would just take the top off of one of these and put this on if you don't want the trigger fingers. Me is just casually carrying them. Again, not my call to make. And then these also fit the beam daggers, of course. Now if you want to mount these weapons on the back, what you would do is put this part on the on that part, and then you would mount it in the back here, like so. And then you can mount both of them on the back like that if it's using its beam daggers and you still want the weapons to be displayed. The beam daggers are really good, or really cool. You have these beam pieces, like these beam saber pieces right here. And then you have the effect parts, which are also really cool. So it's if you're like kind of swinging the beam saber and you just want that extra like motion blur effect on it. I play video games, so I'm not a big fan of motion blur, but those are really cool. So I'm a big fan of that. Now, you do get an expressive hand with the kit as well. However, there is an X over it, so it's technically an excluded part. But you can do some modding because it is the same color as all the other hands. You can do some modding to the hand and to one of the fists. Now, I did it with the one that goes on the left hand, or the left manipulator. I don't know, call it that, because it still goes in here perfectly. The only thing you need to do really is, we pop this back off. The only thing you really need to do is slightly modify this area here and there. I just went in there with a hobby knife very carefully this way and cut that out, and then very carefully cut it out that way. And I mean very carefully. Just be very cautious when doing that. If you have really thin sanding parts, like the etch parts that I have, you could possibly get in there and do that. I don't know, that might even be too small for that. But just slightly taking that out with the hobby knife and then kind of just cutting away some of the middle element of this hand helped. But all in all, it's going to rest in the back portion here. Fit right in there, and there's no problems. And that's going to tie in a bit here for one of my customization ideas. Now, enough on articulation. And the machine guns. Actually, I kind of did do all the gimmicks, huh? Now, the cool thing I did see with the beam saber parts is that if you have the high grade Exia, you can kind of swap it with that. So if you're not using the effect parts for the Pixie, you can actually use them on the high grade Exia, and that kind of gives an extra cool effect to the Exia that's basically all melee anyway, if you're not going to use it on the Pixie. Which I might use, but man, I love these dual machine guns. I love it. It gives me a real Max Payne vibe. And old Halo 2 vibes. Which is why I like it so much. Now for decals and stickers, here's the sticker sheet. Now, as you can kind of see by what's given here, it's a lot of color. It's basically all color correction, and then you have your cameras. So these are for your 90mm machine gun cameras, head cameras, and then eye cameras. And there's just some slight color correction here, and the triangles for the arms. And I think these two are for the side vents of the face and all that. And then you have a cockpit, collar, and I believe these are leg color correction stickers. I just don't remember where they go. So I wasn't really that concerned about them. Yeah, I just don't remember where they go. I think they might actually go right here. Now that I'm looking at it, I think they go in here. But again, not a huge deal. I like the way this looks right out of the box, to be honest. So color correction is not a huge deal for me on this. Plus, I'm repainting it anyway. So now that we've kind of gone through the kit and what it has to offer with articulation, gimmicks, and all that, I will tell you what my plans are with the kit moving forward from here. And we're back. So I know we just went over stickers, but in terms of any type of third-party decals, water slide, or otherwise, you're not really going to find much. I'm going to give my generic, find your generic water slide decal spiel for this scale. I'm just going to say that. Or go out there and find some other custom water slides. I have some pretty good ones from Green Stuff World, etc. I don't think I can actually show them off because of... Yeah, I can't. Because of the way that the paper sits on it, I'm not going to be able to show them off well. But I have a lot of really good decals set aside for this whole series. So I'm kind of excited to use some of those. Or, it's pretty easy to procure at least a minimum of caution decals. Just make sure you're going to each of your sites. Use Gundam Shoppers Network to find a list of approved retailers. I can tell you right now, if you can't find some caution decals that are missing on one site, go to the next one recommended on GSN. GSN might even have it. So please go check them out if you guys need anything. And that's going to be my little plug for this part. For the paint scheme for the Pixie, I don't really think I'm going to change it up all that much. The only thing I have contemplated is changing up one of these colors for olive drab. Now, what would make the most sense is swapping out this blue, this like bluish gray color for the olive drab, because the gray will match. And it will still give it its nice stealthy look. The dark gray up here will match, and I'll probably just do a lighter gray for that. With the dark gray in there, like the color correction sticker has. So there's not really a whole lot that I really think I would change up here, and that would be like one of the only things. And then I might change the red to like a bronze or something like that, but that would be it. But I love the color scheme, and it's really hard. And the only reason why I didn't even change the color scheme is to make it fit in with the strike team a little bit more, because I'm kind of making them like the olive drab, tan, and all that kind of color scheme, like foliage and environmental paint schemes. But I mean, hey, why not? I might just keep him the color scheme that it is because I simply like it, and that's that. but maybe I will change it up. Only time will tell, and you guys will see on the channel anyway eventually. So stay tuned for that. In terms of actual customization plans, I have a couple options. So I want to add a 30-minute mission backpack. I'm leaning more towards this one. I think this is going to look really good with it. I think it'll kind of fit the theme a little more than the other one. But the second option is, of course, the option backpack one that you guys will see. But I don't think it'll look as good or as traditional to UC as the other one will, because I can kind of fit the fuel pod somewhere either on this backpack or get a spare one and kind of retrofit some of this stuff. So I do like the backpack that this comes with. So I'd have to see. But I definitely think I want to retrofit either those thrusters on this backpack or kind of almost expand out or do something. I have to figure it out how I want to do it in this pack. So I'd even be willing to kind of like throw it on the sides here and then figure out some, or no, that might not work. I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you guys. But I might have to add a new backpack. That's all I'm saying. But I really do like, I like this kit, and it really does give a lot of connection points for the backpacks. I don't think I built a kit that I really haven't enjoyed yet, by the way, straight up. I know a lot of people say that they've had a lot of issues. The only one that I've had the most issues with is the real grade Johnny Ridgenzaku, and that wasn't even that bad for me. I have a theory about hand grenade kits, and I feel like it's just people not taking their time or not properly like testing things before putting them together and not making those adjustments before putting them together if they find that there's an issue. But so far I really haven't found anything that just strikes me as a problematic Gundam kit. So lastly, I'm trying to think of the best way to show it. It probably won't be with the actual sprues. So let me put these aside. But lastly, I'm going to give the Pixy a shotgun. So it is going to be a very fast, very quick mobile suit. Because I'm also going to add verniers to it, to like the legs and everything, to kind of give it that boost that I think it's going to need, and some of the thrusters and stuff that it would need to be a fast and agile strike suit. Then I'm going to give it a shotgun. So it boosts up really close to you, bops you in the face with a shotgun shell, and then carries on. It's either going to be that or like a beam, what do they call it? A beam spray gun, like an advanced beam spray gun. But man, I would love it to kind of like be like, because of the I think that's going to be the lure, is like due to like the camphor and everything. Like, you know, I can make some lore around the camphor shotgun, and that's kind of what I'm going to say, is that this is kind of developed from the combat effectiveness that the camphor showed with its shotgun, and this is like the counter to that. So I really like that 30-minute mission shotgun. Hopefully you guys are able to see that on the camera. And I think that's what I'm going to do with it. That's really all I have for it. I'm basically just going to make it a very quick and agile CQB specialist. And it will be part of the strike team. But that's all I really have on this kit, guys. Again, another really solid build. It's a kit I really liked. But this one I think is better than a lot of others. Simply, I just think it has a cool factor that a lot of mobile suits don't have. I mean, not a lot of mobile suits have dual wielding Uzis and really cool beam effect parts right out of the box that are high grade. It also helps as a PBandai kit that I got for really cheap from another vendor, when people are usually charging something like $60 or something like that for this kit. I got it for less than that, and it's probably closer to what the MSRP on PBandai was plus shipping. So I'm really happy about that I got such a good PBandai kit for a not scalper price. So I'm going to continue with building a lot of these Spec Ops kits, but I keep wanting to run these through so you guys keep seeing what are all the kits that are going to be added, even ones that I build off camera, because there will still be a couple of those that I don't build straight up for YouTube because it's either too close to a build that I already have done, or actually no, that's pretty much the only reason. It's too close to a build I've already done on the channel, and I don't feel like it needs a full 3 like thoughts, build, and review, because it's going to be the same. I have a GM custom, I have a Quell video. They're they're basically the same kit. They're slightly different parts. So I'm not going to throw it up on YouTube with that. I will do a review of it still because I want you guys to know what I plan on doing with that kit and some of the background behind it. But yeah, so I will be doing these review videos and still even after this, and they probably will just be kits that I build not on camera. I wish I would have been able to build this on camera and go through all my thoughts and everything along the way. However, I mean, it's great. It's a good kit. And I will be building more PBandai kits on stream, or on YouTube rather. So you guys will get to see all those and make your own and make a decision on whether or not you want this PBandai kit. I'm trying to do these in-depth reviews so you guys know what you're really getting into, and so you guys can spend your money intelligently. If it's a bad PBandai kit, you're gonna hear it from me. I'm not sponsored by Bandai, so yeah, I hope this really helped you guys decide on, hey, maybe I want to pick up a Pixy, or hey, that was just a cool kit. But without further ado, guys, thank you for stopping on by. I really appreciate your time. Especially lately, I've been really putting out a lot of videos, and I'm glad that there's a lot of you out there that are starting to come by consistently. Check them out, even if it's not, a stadium full. I'm happy with every single person that shows up, more than you know. So thank you for stopping by the hangar, and as always, make sure you guys grab your hobby gear and tools, gear up, sortie out, and as always, hobby on. Hey, what's going on, pilots? If you liked the kit in this video, then I highly recommend stopping and seeing our friends at the Gundam Shoppers Network. On that website, you can find multiple Gunpla kits in various grades. You can also find things like Gundam option sets and decals for your custom builds. You can even find hobby tools and other hobby items that will help you build your Gundam kits as fast and as clean as possible. Gundam Shoppers Network also has a very extensive community section. In this community section, you can find things like Gunpla building resources, Gunpla model kit reviews, and recommended US and international retailers. Now, this is one of the most important sections I think that they have to offer, because if they don't have the kit available in their stores, they will still make sure that you have all the resources available to you to make sure that that kit gets into your hands, even if it's from another vendor. The Gundam Shoppers Network also has a new section that features things coming to the site in the future, various discount coupon codes, and they also have some interviews that they conduct with content creators such as Plamo Therapist. So if any of those kits, tips and tricks, and resources interest you, then I'd highly recommend checking them out. And as always, pilots, sortie out and hobby on, and I'll see you in the next video.